What is up? It is Ascetical, and we're not talking about drama this time. I swear to God, we're not doing it. We got Nade. We got Evan. Somewhere down here. I don't know where. I don't actually have OBS open. But he's somewhere down here. And we're going to be talking about weather, shockingly. The Easter Sunday outbreak. There's a lot of controversy around it, and this is a This is a podcast about controversy, generally. Because I like controversial things. I mean, come on. So...
course.
We're going to talk about it. Easter Sunday outbreak. Nate, me and you did a 24-hour live stream. I think it was me, you, Daniel. Who else?
We had Jackson.
Thank you for being a friend.
That should be it.
Yeah, it wasn't very many of us. That was a great stream all around. I think I was there for 22.5 hours, and you were there for 22 or 20. You were there for 25, but you were half asleep for the last 6.
I'd say the last 2.5.
2.5, maybe. Yeah, and then as soon as we went off the air, 4 EF4s decided to rip apart South Carolina. Oops. Whoops. I mean, nobody saw those coming, to be fair. And they just went run after another. God, that was a crazy outbreak. It really was. And we're going to talk about it. First of all, the big quote-unquote controversy here, that most meteorological people seem to be against me on this. And I don't have a degree. I'm probably never going to get a degree. I live in my mom's basement. I'm 18. I'm a high school dropout. Yeah. Should it have been a high risk? I mean...
Yes.
Has anyone got any reasoning for why it should be a high risk? That's the thing. Because there were concerns.
No.
There were concerns about the viability of the outbreak due to the morning convection that was apparent that morning.
I would say the 12:30 Eastern Daylight Time. What is that? The 16:30Z. Yeah, 16:30Z outlook for day one. The morning convection would have been gone already.
It was gone. Yeah, they had 2 outlooks where they could have feasibly put a high risk, and they didn't. Yeah, I understand the morning outlook's having a loaded gun moderate, max probs. That was fine. But after like noonish, it was pretty apparent that there was going to be an outbreak. I remember saying it on the stream, like, I'm probably going to go high here, and then they didn't, and I was like, shit. It was like,
what the hell?
I mean, it all comes down to like social science, doesn't it? Because a big reason why they don't like issuing high risks is because it kind of devalues the high risk as a term. Right, because of the boy cried wolf theory. I wrote a paper on this. It wasn't very good. It's the reason I failed college and career writing, because my citations were wrong. The paper was probably fine. I don't know. I got 80 on the paper and a 30 on the citations. But effectively, I'm still mad about that. Effectively, a lot of forecasters, a lot of people in the meteorological community that are involved in social science and forecasting, like WFO people who are in weather media, a lot of them believe that if you issue too many tornado warnings, people won't actually take cover when there's a real threat. And that, you would think that holds true, because a lot of people are like, there's always a damn tornado warning, and it never actually comes to me. But they still take shelter, even when they bitch about it. Apparently. That's what the social science shows. There was a great paper by some Chinese people, and I think it was like a collaboration between like some Chinese university and an American university. I forgot exactly who. Yeah. And I read through the whole paper, and really the finding was that people will continue to take shelter when there's a tornado warning, even if there's been a lot of false alarms. Just because it's false alarms doesn't override the fact that people are going to take shelter when there's a fucking tornado coming. So effectively, the boy cried wolf theory doesn't really... yes, you don't want to have a tornado warning on every shower. You don't want to issue a higher risk every time it's going to rain. But this was, even under that argument, even if you think, they can't issue too many high risks, this was the kind of outbreak. The parameters are there. This is why we have the high risk. This is why we don't have a 4-point scale. This is why there's a 5th point, right? This was a top-tier outbreak, pretty apparent afternoon. And I don't remember, what was the probability for tornadoes? It was the maximum allowed under moderate.
15 sig.
15 sig, really?
Yeah, 15 sig.
I thought it was... God.
That's the highest for moderate.
That's highest for moderate. I forget. Doesn't it go 15 and then 30? Doesn't it jump?
Yeah, it goes from 15 and then 30.
Yeah, I can understand maybe there not being a 30% risk of tornadoes, but then why not have an intermediary?
Well,
I don't know.
You could have it for wind, honestly.
I mean, yeah, even a high risk for wind would have made sense. There was microbursts that knocked down all the trees in Talbot County. So
Yeah.
And I think we have pictures of that. I don't know. But overall, it was... I don't know. I mean, it could have been a high risk. I don't know if it should have. I don't know what you think, Nate, because you weren't really giving many opinions that stream. You were more focused on covering things, and I think nobody was really giving their opinions on things up until the last half hour when things were quiet before Carolina decided to go apeshit.
Yeah. I mean,
maybe
we knew going up. Let's put it this way. All right, let's wind back the clocks to 3 days prior. Actually, you know what? We'll go 4 days prior to this event, when the SPC officially recognized this as a potential severe threat. Mm-hmm. They had their 15% for some sort of storms or storm system that would move on through. The models were consistent with this event all the way throughout. Now, the only issue with it being 4 days out is obviously it runs the risk of some of the models that are more short range to differentiate from the actual long range models. So those were the risks going into that. But then once you saw day 3 came out, the SPC was, very adamant that this was a moderate. And usually whenever they issue a moderate day 3, it goes high day 1. So
historically, I think it was close to 100%, if not 100%. Yeah. I think there was one before this that didn't do that. Now, I remember one of the arguments against going high, right, was posted by Elizabeth Leitman, Weather Liz on Twitter, who I respect her as a forecaster, but her Twitter page is just really bad. Horrible takes, constantly. But she said that the SPC's convective outlook isn't really a product that's designed for the general public, which, yes, I'll give you that. It's designed to be used by National Weather Service forecast offices to guide their forecasting. That's not how it gets used. Most of the time, NWS Omaha, Kearney, I'm just going to speak for the ones I know of. Kearney, Omaha, or Hastings, it's basically in Kearney. It's Tri-Cities. Hastings, Omaha, Grand Island, North Platte, KC, Missouri, the one over in Iowa, all the ones near me that I look at constantly. If there's a severe threat, they just take the convective outlook, put it into AWIPS, put a nice little color table on it, and slap it down. That's all they do. It's a very simple product. It's 1 through 5. And she was like, well, the general public doesn't understand that, so there's no need for us to actually be using it for the general public. But every single NWS office is just going to take that graphic and put it back out. Now, she actually replied to my tweet, thankfully. She's very active on Twitter. Perhaps too active. And she said, well, it's not used by the general public, so it's not an issue if we don't go high because nobody looks at it. Tons of people look at it. The SPC page crashed the morning of the Easter Sunday outbreak, or was the outbreak the next week? One of those two outbreaks, the page crashed at like 3 a.m. So people look at this page a lot. So don't give me that, the general public doesn't use a convective outlook. Because even if they don't, as they said, it still guides forecasters. And you don't want to be telling forecasters that it's only a moderate, because moderate and high are very different in people's minds, right? A high risk of severe weather, that's pretty significant. And that's before we start getting into how horribly worded the categories are. I remember there was a paper from, I don't think it was Austin Perot. It was somebody at like Oklahoma, and it basically sorted where people thought the convective outlook categories were 1 through 5. And most people I remember put marginal ahead of slight. A lot of people had enhanced past moderate, and there was 1% of people who had slight as the highest risk. So I guess there are some smooth brains answering this survey. I don't know how that happened. I don't know how you think, oh yeah, slight risk, that's 5. Maybe they misread it and thought it was back to front. I'm just shocked. I think it was taken in Alabama and Oklahoma, so maybe that's why. But overall, people understand the product decently if it's numbered, and that's how most WFOs use it. They number it 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And so you can't use that argument that, we didn't go high because a moderate was fine because it's only used by forecasters. People look at that, so you can't use that to deflect the fact that it might have been a bad choice. Now, Nate has left the chat.
I just went to lock the door because I know there's going to be some sort of carnage coming upstairs soon. I don't know what it's going to be.
Yeah, but yeah, that was a big argument from people at the SPC, especially Elizabeth Leitman, a lot of forecasters. And right after Easter Sunday, I remember there was a lot of shit talking on Twitter between actual meteorologists about the convective outlook categories, because some people think they're fine. I honestly think that they're fine, but of course I've been looking at them since I was like 10, so I understand it pretty well. It does probably need a rework. It definitely needs a rework. But what would you rename it to? So, people saying that it doesn't matter, it does matter. People do look at that product. Now, Nate, do you see any good reasoning for not going high at noon, at the noon-ish, around noon, the midday outlook? Do you think that there was any good reasoning to keep it at a moderate? Because the convective inhibition was gone.
Well, if recalling back, there's two possible areas where they could have put the high. All right, there's the area that the QLCS was going through, which was originally through Louisiana, heading through to towards Jackson, and eventually heading towards Tuscaloosa and Birmingham. That probably could have went high for wind due to the fact of that consistently having just like lines of all sorts of storms that were consistently producing either tornadoes or wind. You could have even went 30 sig for tornadoes there due to the fact that there was a prior tornado emergency that struck Monroe. Can't remember if that was an EF2 or an EF3, but regardless, it was there. So you could have had it there. And then the second area would have been where the Soso tornado was, the EF4 that was 190, due to the fact that, granted, the shear wasn't as good as it was up north. It was still relatively, it was exquisite, if I may say. And the Cape was 3,000, 3,500, 4,000 joules per kilogram. It was a lot more energy down there for there to be larger supercells to produce larger tornadoes. So, we already knew that there was going to be, if there was going to be tornadoes, like bad tornadoes, that's the area of where it was going to happen.
And here's the thing, like, people were like, this was an argument I saw on Twitter, and it may be the dumbest argument I've ever heard against it giving a high risk. Somebody said the threat was too widespread for a high risk. The definition of high risk, according to the SPC, has the word widespread in it. All right, so I don't want to hear people say, oh, it was too spread out. Yes, because there was tornadoes pretty much every county. I think Georgia had a tornado warning, right? Like, pretty much everyone got either a warning, they had a tornado in the county, or they at least got some very big wind, right? Everyone got hit in this area, this huge swath. Everyone got something. A high risk would not have been a bad idea. Now,
also,
I'm not going to speculate.
If I may add too, just real quickly, that day, it wasn't just one wave.
Yeah, there was a couple waves.
Multiple waves. So, if anything, that's more evidence to give it a high risk due to the fact that, it has a higher chance of covering all those areas. So, it's just so many opportunities for for widespread coverage. And, this goes into actually what I wanted to say before, with how, SPC Lightman said that they're,
Lightman or Leitman?
I think I don't know. I'm terribly sorry if I butchered your name, but to be
sorry,
honest,
Liz. She watches stuff on YouTube, so she might be. Hi, I'm sorry I said your Twitter's bad.
But I have to say, if the National Weather Service is just basically going to take the convective outlook, copy and paste it onto their own thing, and then, go 1 through 5, I'm fine with that. But, if you're going to say that the convective outlook is there for the National Weather Service to basically shoot out and tell people, what all stuff was happening, this goes further into, why wasn't there a high risk so that you guys could get the word out and say that this stuff was going to be as bad as it was. I mean, at least at the 1630Z, you could have at least said something out there. And the National Weather Service would have been immediately on top of that. It would have been. I almost guarantee. I'm not sure if they would if it's happened before, but I'm pretty sure the National Weather Service radios probably would have said something, or at least updated whatever they've said, if you issued that high risk. And maybe,
I don't listen to the NWS, like the automated forecast that goes when you hit the forecast button, right, on your other radio. You got alert, and then forecast or watch or whatever it says. There's the other setting that basically just goes on constantly. I think it does mention SPC outlook categories when it goes through that. If you're under one in the county warning area, radios in.
At
or the
that
transmitters in.
magnitude, yeah.
So,
I mean, and then even then, if it's not the radio, the Twitter, the different areas, on weather.gov, they would have already been on top of that to say, hey, you guys have seen moderates before, but this is worse than a moderate. This is a high, and you guys need to be a bit more careful than you already are. Now, even though they were going through the heart of COVID back then, I'm pretty sure people would have at least had some sort of plan going into this, if this was the case.
And that was something with this outbreak. A lot of shelters were closed in Alabama and Georgia. A lot of community tornado shelters were closed because of the virus. I remember James Spann, there was actually a website that listed a bunch of them that were open or closed. And, I feel like, I don't know if that contributed to the deaths. It might have, it might have not. I can't speculate. There's still a lot of research that has to be done on this outbreak, and it's something that is going to be researched. I mean, the super outbreak was researched a couple of years ago. I think it was 2011. 2011 super outbreak was researched a lot. This might be researched even more just because it's more recent. There's a lot of academic stuff going on in meteorology. There's a lot of money. So, I think that we'll find out whether or not the high risk had an actual what's the term?
Psychological effect.
Like a sociological effect on people's behavior. Socio-psychological effect on people's behavior. And I think that it's probably going to be yes, because a high risk just sounds much worse than a moderate. Moderate sounds like a 3, honestly. That's what people on the paper I mentioned earlier. Moderate sounds like a 3. Now that we've gotten that out of the way, they should have gone high. Can we all agree on that, right? It should have probably been a high at the midday outlook.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
The only question is where do you put it? Just put it over the whole area. I mean, that's what they did on 2011 super outbreak.
I mean, the conditions were, let's put it this way. The setup, I'll actually say this real quick, and I'll get this thought out of the way, all right? Dixie, we already know that Dixie and the main tornado alley is vastly different, all right? If we look just in past events in general, usually whenever, we'll go first. In Tornado Alley, it seems to be more discreet when it comes to the tornadoes. There seems to be a bit more hail involved and wind and stuff like that. Maybe not as much wind, but still, it seems to be more of just hail alley in this case. For Dixie, even a small marginal threat, excluding tropical systems, even a small marginal threat, if some sort of QLCS or organized boundary moves on through, you can almost guarantee that there's going to be a couple areas that people should watch when it comes to tornadoes and stuff like that. It seems to happen more or less because it's basically a artificial warm sector because it's constantly warm and moist over there. And it's just got all the energy it needs. All it needs is the shear. And whenever it has that, pairing with the fact that it is already close to the Gulf and how you've already got the sea breeze, the directional shear already moving through there, it's going to amplify that. You've got all the conditions already there for you to guarantee that there's going to be storms. And that's happened in the past constantly. Mm-hmm. It's not really a thing for Georgia. The further east you go from Alabama, Mississippi, Louisiana, it isn't really as impactful. But just that area of Dixie where the sea breeze just consistently advects warm, moist conditions into those general areas, you've already got a constant warm sector that just continuously develops and amplifies all sorts of boundaries that may move through. Yeah. And even so, you think of it this way: it's not even for this isn't just for severe weather. If you think of it this way, you have a stationary boundary that moves on through. The Gulf is a constant hot zone for tropical systems off of stationary boundaries.
Yeah.
So if you have all of that energy that advects over into inland into Dixie, think of what it can do with severe weather. And we've already seen it. We've seen it consistently produce multiple events to where it just ramps up in activity, and it doesn't gradually go up. It's just quick, efficient, and powerful, and it's just history never lies.
Dixie, you don't cat bust much down there, you know? There's always that energy. And we got that out of the way, right? Should have been high.
Mm.
Let's just talk about, we streamed the whole damn thing, except for the stuff in North Carolina. Sure. We're not going to talk about that. I mean, I might talk. I stayed up for it. I stayed up until like 6 a.m. I stayed up until it was off the coast. And there were so many tornadoes. It was just an insane outbreak. I think all day long, I think I was looking at correlation coefficient more than I had correlation coefficient in one window, reflectivity in another, third pane I had velocity, and the fourth pane I think I had echo tops. I had those 4 panes when I actually had GR2 open for pretty much all day. I mean, I wasn't on GR2 the whole time. I had radar scope as well, but there was a lot of tornadoes that were CC drop warned, right? And in Dixie you have a lot of that. There's a lot of trees to get airborne and get lofted up, lots of debris. I don't think I've seen so many debris balls in one day as I saw on Easter.
I don't think I've seen as many large debris balls as I've seen in one day.
I mean, I missed So-So. I missed that one. I saw the beginning of it, and I was like, ah, shit, it's going to be bad.
As soon as I saw that thing, I said, it's over, ladies and gentlemen.
That was bad.
That is the tornado.
Yeah, I mean,
that is...
People forget Clemson got almost hit by a tornado. There was a lot of really near misses, too.
Oh, yeah. It could have been way worse than it already was.
Yeah, and then there was it Chattanooga? No, not Chattahoochee. That's a
Chattanooga.
Chattanooga, that's the name. Yeah, Chattanooga had one. That one was a beast, too. I mean, Atlanta had a couple.
I'm going to be completely honest with you. I saw something, but I thought that thing was weakening. All of a sudden, boom, intensified. Yeah. You had it already in residential areas, and that was just this.
That was a bad one. I don't know which ones were fatal. I think So-So was fatal.
So-So was definitely fatal.
Wasn't one of the Atlanta tornadoes fatal?
No, the EF4 in South Carolina that we did not cover, I believe that one was fatal.
I thought one tornado in like southwest of Atlanta, one of those killed someone, I remember. Forgot which one.
Oh, was it the EF3?
It was either I thought it was a weak one. But
it was a weak one.
It was I went to like a trailer park. There was somebody who was like near there that I had in the chat.
I
don't know.
I think maybe Monroe, Louisiana. No. One of the Louisiana ones was fatal too, but it was earlier in the day, prior to Monroe.
Yeah. Because the first Tor E happened right after I got back in, right? Because I woke up.
Yeah.
I took a nap, and then I woke up.
Everything started ramping up around 11 Eastern
around 11. 10, I remember I was eating a chocolate bunny when the first Tor E came in, so I had to be like 5. It was like 7 a.m. when the first Tor E came.
The first Tor E came. It was noon. It was around noon, actually.
I thought it was a bit earlier.
No,
I don't know. My sense of time was skewed the whole day. So.
First PDS was that morning because if you remember correctly, there was a couple cells that were in Texas.
Oh yeah.
It was, or either that or it was reported, but it was just there was a lot of action. As soon as, let's put it this way, you knew when it officially started.
Yeah.
When you saw an entire line of red polygons and sometimes pink on that stream, you knew you were in for a day.
Yeah, I mean, right away from the first cells in Del Rio from the previous night, those started spinning at like 3 a.m. The Outlook wasn't even out yet. I remember the Outlook was delayed by half an hour. I remember like 2 or 3 a.m. Those cells were already spinning.
Yeah.
Those actually, I think you can trace one actual updraft all the way from Texas all the way across. There is one updraft that pretty much just stayed up there. It was a heck of an outbreak, man. It was
crazy.
I mean, I still have the gif of that one her run.
Yeah.
God, that was...
Some of the soundings on that, too. I mean, just I remember we were staying up for the day 3 outlook.
Mhm.
We were looking at a bunch of the models.
Yeah.
And we were just like, dude, this is crazy. And then the day 3 came out. AJ and I were freaking out, and we were like, you know what? We're staying up for the next NAMM run.
Yeah.
Because we want to see, if this is real or not. We couldn't believe it.
I was staying up for the NAMM run to make fun of it, but then it was like, that's sensible. Fuck. Yeah. It's like, oh no, the NAMM's right. This is not good. No. Yeah. And it was like, the NAMM nailed this, the Hernet. Didn't one of them not convect quite enough? Was that the NAMM, maybe?
I think... Are you talking about the model to where it didn't have enough thunderstorms?
It didn't have. Yeah, it didn't have the second line. Was it the NAMM?
I think it was.
Because the morning her run had 2 lines.
I can't remember what the rap said.
The rap just kind of had it all blobbed out because the resolution's so low, but you could tell there was some.
Yeah.
I mean, the rap is lower resolution than NAMM. It's the best thing about the rap is its soundings. It has good soundings.
I think it was the NAMM.
Might have been the NAMM. Because by the end of the day, the NAMM 3K pulled into line, but at first it wasn't quite there.
NAMM definitely overmixed it with the Cape. I have to say that much.
Yeah, the NAMM was overmixing. I don't know. It's been doing that a lot. Does it always do that?
Usually it does. Usually the 3K overmixes.
Yeah.
But in this case, the models have been terrible as of just this past 2 months. So.
Yeah, the models haven't been great this year. A lot of that's because they lost the aircraft going across the country collecting data, and that powers the FV3, which already has its own problems. The FV3 I think the FV3 thinks it's going to get down to 52 tonight here in Lincoln, and the actual forecast I think says 59. So it thinks everything's freezing cold. I remember during the winter it gave us a foot of snow and we got half an inch. So I don't trust the FV3 on nothing. It's horribly broken. We could talk for hours about the FV3 and how stupid the development process is, and the fact that the main guy who's working on it went back to Japan, I think. Like they can't find him. They lost him. He left.
He's doing what I would do.
Once I saw it, it's like, okay, yeah, this isn't working. Goodbye. I'm out. I'm leaving. I'm going back to Japan. I'm gonna. Waifus, yeah, that's a nice body pillow back there, bud. Who is that, by the way? Who is that body pillow?
That's Albedo from Overlord.
Nice. I may or may not have started watching Fate. What?
Oh God!
What? They throw so much shit at you in the first episode. Like, what is all this? Like they expect you to know the entire lore of the series before you even start watching it.
Dude, I don't know why I did it. I actually, you know what? I know what I did. This entire quarantine, I created, and this is going to be such an otaku thing, but I created a list of all the animes I've either watched or rewatched in this quarantine. And I was like, you know what? I'm going to have the bright idea to rewatch Sword Art Online in the span of 2.5 to 3 days.
Why?
I don't know, but I did.
For Sword Art Online, even?
Yeah!
Only the first season was good, and then the rest sucked.
It's okay.
Alice'ization's alright, but they made Kirito into, like, completely fucking... I know why they did it. It's supposed to be a character arc.
Well, but, like, season 1, season 2, the movie, the extra after season 1, the movie after season 2, Gun Gale Online, I watched that. And then Alicization. Obviously, they're still releasing videos, episodes.
And they're videos to you because you watch it on Kiss Anime, but
seems legit. That's 9 anime to you, but sooner or later I'm gonna.
Oh yeah, sorry. Yeah, the site I watch, you can't find it on ClearNet because it has everything. But I'm not gonna talk about that anymore on YouTube. FBI, that was a joke. I don't actually pirate. I have a Crunchyroll subscription.
Yeah, I'm getting a Crunchyroll subscription.
Oh, don't do that. I was joking. Oh.
I'm going to. I have to. I have to get stuff whenever it comes out. Speaking of which, I'm going to get some figurines from the Otaku box on the 25th of August, so that's going to be nice.
Unbox it.
Including a Rias Gremory figure.
Oh.
So,
I can't
And
think
then
of anything better than that, but like
eventually-
maybe a Stolfo?
And
Yeah,
then
it's
eventually, I'm
awesome.
also gonna buy a Raphtalia 1/7 scaling figurine as well. So that's gonna be a nice.
1/7. How big is that? That's pretty
That's
sizable.
like 8 inches, but it's on it. She's on her knees,
Oh.
doing some sort of pose or something like that.
Yeah.
It's not anything sexual. I swear to
Yeah,
God.
sure.
But it's-
Yeah. I don't
it's-
buy figures. I buy diecast. I actually have this one here. I got this about a year ago. I buy IndyCar diecast and NASCAR ones. I like this one
Yeah.
just for one reason. Has Fuzzy's vodka on the side. I've never had Fuzzy's vodka, but their logo is just fucking beautiful. Love Fuzzy's. Ed Carpenter's number 14 car from the 2018 Indianapolis 500. I don't know why I can name that, but I actually have a ton over on that shelf. I've been trying to get into like getting some anime figurines, but they all cost so damn much.
With the Otaku box I got for like $70, and they give you a figurine every issuance. So it's just a monthly subscription, but it actually you get all sorts of content like etchy art, shirts, keychains, stuff like that. But a bunch of content that they give you.
I'll have to look into that. We're not sponsored by the Otaku box.
Although I will say, I have a code that gets you, I think, $5 off. So I'll probably be issuing that. And
wait, what's the code? Gotta tell me.
Huh?
What's the code?
I'll tell you the code later. I'll probably.
Yeah, we can be giving away for free.
Well, you know what? Then what? Well, no, it's just $5 off. But I'll be giving my code for free. I guess if more people want to buy the Otaku box, that would be great. I'll get a code. I'll give you all a code to use.
Use code Ascetical at checkout for precisely 50 minus 50% off at checkout.
You can only use this code once, but it does give you $5 off of your first.
Oh, you can only use it once. Try me. I have multiple proxies.
Well, you see, for every 3 months of your subscription, the items that you get progressively get better and better, and the quality of them increase.
That's very smart business right there. That's actually.
Yeah. So the figurines get better. The etchy art obviously gets better.
Gets better, yeah.
So the more and more now, obviously, I'm not making it to be like the first issuance is trash. You know, it's the opposite of that. But it's still one of those things to where if you consistently subscribe to them, obviously you can't use my promo code again. But you do get better quality when it comes to your box. So I'll probably do some sort of a opening, live opening for the YouTube channel or something like that.
You need to contact it. You're big enough to get like a sponsorship. You need to talk to these people.
Maybe.
You gotta talk
if I get
a
sponsorship from the Otaku box, woof. I still need to get that sponsorship.
Major woof moment right there. Back onto the Easter Sunday outbreak, which, believe it or not, we were talking about. I mean, it's just such a great outbreak. I mean, what was your favorite? Okay, what was the most strong? I'm not going to say favorite because it'd be very morbid, and us meteorologists are fake meteorologists. I mean, you're going to be one. I'm probably going to be a mechanic or some shit.
I'm going to Penn State for meteorology. Yeah. So sooner or later, I'll get it within the next 4 years.
I'm going to SCC to learn how to like fucking fix cars or some shit. So, I mean, legit. Us. Weathermen. Can we? I don't think I can.
Weather enthusiasts. I'll say that.
Weather enthusiasts. Yeah, but that makes it sound like weenies.
Not
people
really.
who do not possess a degree but have a certain amount of knowledge in the weather things do.
Weenies got its own category. They stay in the corner.
Weebs. Us weather weebs have to project that we don't like destruction, right? Secretly, deep down, we all like it a little bit, at least. Okay? We all secretly sometimes do think, you know what? Yeah. Tornadoes hitting things is kind of cool, it's not, you don't want it to happen, but it is awe-inspiring to see something get torn up. It's kind of like watching a crash during a race. You don't hope for it, but when you see it, it's not like you're gonna look away and ignore it. So you don't hope for it, but you do watch it when it comes along. And a lot of people project that they don't like it at all, but everybody secretly kind of likes destruction. Now, Nate, what was the most striking moment of the stream? The whole thing.
I mean, going back real quickly before I say the most striking moment. For me, it's not really, the destruction. I'm not craving for the destruction. I'm craving to see the raw power of these things. And there's just it's something really satisfying.
Yeah.
And you'll see if you go into my live stream where I chased Isaias, you know,
That stupidest name ever.
I gotta say, whoever decided to call it Isaias, I'm gonna need to pull you aside and maybe have a chat. I'm definitely not naming my kid that. But it's definitely still one of those things to where it was really satisfying to be out to see all this stuff. You know, just the sheer power of what happens, you know, than what Mother Nature can provide us.
Yeah, I mean...
So it's nothing to where, you know...
I mean, obviously you don't want to see anyone's livelihood get wrecked, but if a bunch of trees get torn up by a bit... Like the tornado up in Minnesota Mike Mars had, some of that video is spectacular.
Oh, yeah.
Like,
I mean, you could tell that thing was powerful.
He was nice enough to give me the HD video for my own usage. I'm not going to like show it here because I can't. I don't have the license. I don't want the license. Go check it out on the proper places if you do want to see it. It's an amazing video. I had the pleasure of knowing Mike Mars. He's a great guy. Came out of nowhere, this video, though. I didn't think he'd be... I thought it'd be like Reed Timmer or someone to be the guy right up next to the fucking grinder. But, oh my god, Mike Mars had some great shots there. But, just going back to that, the raw power of it is great, you know? And that's the thing, like, a lot of people say, oh, I hope there's no tornadoes today. Everyone wants there to be tornadoes, shut up. Unless it's on top of your house, of course. I don't want a tornado to hit my house. I wouldn't mind to hit that building right over there. That one. Yeah, it's really freaking ugly. It's a parking garage. They put it in, and they taxed us so we can have this eyesore in our neighborhood for the shopping mall. And if a tornado just picked that up and like threw it into Iowa, gave them a free parking garage, that'd be nice.
But back to your question about the most striking moment. There was a couple. The first eye opener, I'll mention a couple. The first eye opener was when I saw the tornado emergency for Monroe.
The first one, right? First one of the day.
Yeah, this was the first one of the day. I was with Daniel, Ruff, or Brendan, and it was Jackson. And we were tracking these storms just for a bit. And all of a sudden, we saw tornado emergency, and we went, oh, God, it's happening.
I believe that's what woke me up. Was you guys screaming about it?
Dude, we absolutely, because I hadn't seen, this was my second tornado emergency that I saw live on GR2 and caught live on stream. The first one was the Alexandria one back in December of last year.
Yeah.
So
that was an EF1, wasn't it?
Actually, no. Actually, sorry. My mistake. This was my third tornado emergency. The first one was Alexandria. That was an EF3. The second one was second one was actually the first one was DeRidder Alexandria. For those who actually want to take a look at it.
So I thought there was another one after that. I thought that wasn't the one that got the Tori, though. I thought the one that got the Tori was weaker.
That one, no. The one that went to Alexandria, that thing consistently, it was like a 45-mile track, something like that.
Huh, I thought
it went straight from DeRidder.
That day, but
it went from DeRidder to Alexandria. It just literally went all the way up.
I do remember the debate about what it was going to be called, and everyone wanted it to be called DeRidder, but I always hear Alexandria now, so...
That was where the tornado emergency was, so it would have been it would have made sense if it was that. But and then the second one was Tishomingo. That was, I think, 2-3 weeks prior, something like that, which ended up being an EF1 of all things.
Yeah, that's the one. That was the EF1 I was thinking of. That was...
Yeah.
I can understand why that was a Tory, honestly. And during the Easter Sunday outbreak, there were some weird tornado emergencies. Like, wasn't there one for an air base? I mean, this is the first time I'd seen tornado emergencies for towns of under like a couple thousand people.
I can't remember.
Because there are some stories for some small, pretty rural areas, which was new for me.
I don't know. What I do know is that the tornado emergencies that I caught on the stream all were justified.
I mean, every emergency that day was justified. Yeah, I don't think there was a single missed call when it came to the warnings that day. I mean, I don't even think any of them were even late. The NWS did a great job.
Oh, yeah. I mean, definitely it was just one of those things where if there is even a speck of rotation, boom, immediately issue.
Well, because by the time that the next frame came in, it'd be on the ground.
Yeah, exactly.
I think there might have been a couple early warnings, but that's fine. When you have that much rotation, people are going to understand that not every storm that has rotation is going to drop a tornado. People who really advocate for the cry wolf theory are just, they really underestimate the intelligence of the average Southerner, which I think comes from the academic side of things, which is understandable. Everyone has their perceived biases. The big striking moment for me, though, right, was when somebody thanked us for like saving their life or something. I think it was around.
Oh my god!
It was around 18 o'clock. Yeah, it was around 18 o'clock. It was around 6 p.m. my time. That was striking, man. That was nice. That was. I don't know when that. What was after
that was
Sosa?
Probably. This was after Sosa. That actually, well, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, that's just, I don't try and brag about me saving lives, because for me, I'm more or less an open book for you to read off of. Mm-hmm. So I don't care all too much. I mean, obviously I do when it comes to saving lives and stuff like that, but I don't care too much about how the public perceives this book. So, making that live stream for Easter, it wasn't really a hobby, but it still was something fun to do.
Yeah.
And to basically be a part of.
It was fun. It was very fulfilling. It was a very fulfilling live stream.
And you guys know, every single time I go onto my live stream, I'm always trying to share my enthusiasm about the weather with you all. So, to see what we saw that day was definitely, it's basically Christmas for, the people at home who are not being impacted by this. So, and it was just so satisfying to look at. And I'm pretty sure the people who might have actually chased were the same way.
I actually know a couple people who did chase that outbreak. Apparently, it wasn't that good of a chase, just because the storm motion was insane. There were some really fast movers. And then also, every tornado that day, every major tornado that day turned right as it was dissipating, but before it weakened. How many right turners do we have? How many left turners? There's tons of turns. They turned and it started dissipating. And that was just incredibly dangerous. There's a couple of chasers who I know had some close calls. I know Pecos Hank was closer than he thought with the Soso tornado. That's just an example.
Yeah.
There was a lot of people that had close calls just because of the storm motion that day. And you could tell on the autographs that was going to happen. They would bunker, they would turn, they would do all sorts of flips and shit. It was a real field day for meteorologists, meteorology enthusiasts, storm chasers, weenies, everyone. There was something for everyone there in that outbreak. Even the people who were just like, disaster porn. They love watching shit get broke. They would have loved it too, I'm sure. It was a huge outbreak, and it was, I don't know, for me, I was pretty young. I was 10 in 2011, all right, during the 2011 outbreak. Yeah, I would have been 9 during the 2011 outbreak. Yeah, that's right, 9. I wasn't old enough for that. So this is, for me, my first real super outbreak. I know it's not really considered a super outbreak. It wasn't quite as big as 2011. I think it was close. Like, how many tornadoes were there? A couple hundred?
Too many. Yeah.
Too many, yeah. It's too many to count. I mean, they surely missed some. I mean,
I think over the stretch, I think it was 400 something, I think.
Hold on, I can look it up. While I do that, what was your thought on the...
I know the total of the Easter outbreak was a little under 150.
Yeah, the Easter tornado outbreak was 140.
Yeah, 140. Maybe around that, give or take. There might have even been some tornadoes that nobody even took account
Yeah, there were 32 fatalities, and Yes, there was one in Georgia, kind of by Atlanta, and then the Chattanooga one also had two fatalities. The one near Chatsworth, I remember that one. I think that was northern Georgia. That was kind of just south of Chattanooga. That one had a couple fatalities. I think the deadliest of the whole outbreak was So-So. Yeah, it was So-So. Was the deadliest.
7? I think it was 7.
So-So had 8. They changed it to 8.
Okay.
There's also a couple non-tornadic deaths from, I think someone got struck by lightning in Texas. So it was a very deadly outbreak.
Yeah.
And honestly, it was just really impressive from a meteorological standpoint. Everything came together. It wasn't quite as big as the super outbreaks. Part of that was because it was all shunted. It was all shunted downwards and south and eastward. It was more compact than the super outbreaks. A lot of people forget the super outbreak, the original one back in the 1900s. That one was not just Dixie. That was Midwest as well. That went up through Illinois, Indiana, Ohio. People forget that. Most of the big tornadoes were up there. So, these big super outbreaks, as you can kind of call them, have always impacted Dixie, but this one I almost feel like was almost as bad as 2011, just because there's other compounding factors, right? You had the coronavirus outbreak, you have the big tornado outbreak, you have the confusing messaging from the National Weather Service and local authorities in some cases, just because of, the pandemic and all that impacts all this. And on top of that, you've got an outbreak that wasn't really certain, because remember, we were concerned about convection up until around noon. We were talking about the morning convection ruining it. And then around, about 1, we realized the morning convection was just feeding into it. It was going to, if anything, enhance.
Yeah.
I remember at one point on the stream, like, so this morning convection's dropping a lot of tornadoes, isn't it? I remember that line right there. And then everyone just kind of stopped and was like, oh, okay. And I was like, oh, great, that's the first wave. And I remember it was just a big outbreak. I don't know if you can call it a super outbreak, but pretty damn close. Now, do you personally know anyone who chased it?
Repeat one more time.
Do you know anyone who chased it personally? Because I know a couple guys who are like acquaintances, but like.
Not any off the top of my head.
Like I know I have a couple acquaintances who chased it, but I don't have any like close.
Actually, you know what? Scratch that. I do. I know one person who chased.
One.
He was in Missouri. Actually, I think it was. It wasn't. He wasn't chasing So-So, but it was during when a little bit prior up to So-So, where he was chasing some confirmed tornadoes. I think it was north of Philadelphia, northeast of Philadelphia. It was heading towards the border, towards Alabama.
Yeah.
And he saw he had a couple of things happening over there. So, I think Brendan and Daniel were actually originally helping him.
Yeah. Okay, now that jog memory. All right.
Yeah. So I think he was he got some pretty good activity across the board, but.
Oh, I think it's the last time I talked to Brendan was that outbreak. Yeah, maybe. That's the last time I talked to the Ruff. That's interesting. But yeah, there was a lot. I feel like it was almost an under-chased outbreak.
I feel like for good reason.
I mean, part of it's Dixie. Kind of everyone knows don't chase Dixie. I mean,
it's a jungle.
I wish I had that shirt. I know one guy that has the Don't Chase Dixie shirt. He's a guy who chases in Dixie, of course. I need that shirt. If anyone can get me that shirt.
I mentioned before I got my own custom rain jacket.
Got your own custom shirt, yeah. Bro, you need to make like some shirts for all the guys who are on the stream, man. I'd wear that. Bro, I'd wear the Hockey Boy Nate shirt. People would think I'm Hockey Boy Nate. No. I look similar enough. If you ever get famous, I'm gonna steal all your clout and I'm gonna use it to get free Starbucks. All right?
I mean that's the way to go.
I need the free lattes, man. I don't know if it's in here. I tried that Starbucks cold brew stuff, right? The stuff you can get like the gas station. Awful. Yeah. Awful. Just the worst. Bad.
Oof.
Now, is there anything you regret? I don't really have too many regrets because, I mean, we were both really tired. People in the Carolinas were probably asleep as well.
I regret nothing of what I did in the stream.
Mm-hmm.
I regret this is something that I didn't do. I regret not getting, actually, two things. I regret not splitting up the stream into 12 hours, first off. So that actually I could have the
VOD, yeah.
I could have it for you all.
Mm-hmm.
But I also regret that Sunday evening into Monday morning, I regret not making a cup of coffee for me to last a bit longer.
I honestly regret not going live myself. I thought about it, but I was running on... I physically couldn't. I mean, I really wish I had at least tried. I was on a Dell Inspiron DH300 or something like that. Really slow. Barely ran GR2. I was complaining about it the whole day. You probably heard me a couple times when we were like at a break. I was like, this fucking thing is stupid. It won't work.
i3 or i5?
Oh no, this computer has the i5. That had like an i2. It was fucking old. this thing had an i2.5 or something. Okay.
That's a struggle right there.
It was a real struggle. It was having issues.
You wouldn't have been able to stream anything.
This computer can render. That thing, it had issues running nation states. It could barely run NASCAR 03. It wasn't going to stream. And that was just really tough for me because I felt like I feel like I did a good job of covering things once he started dozing off. For not being able to control the radar, I think I did all right.
Yeah.
I mean, at some point it would be nice. I mean, next Outbreak, of course, now Discord has the screen sharing feature. So, if you fall asleep, I can just say, hey, can you mouse over to my screen and I can share it. Exactly. I honestly, on the one hand, I don't want there to be a big outbreak that's going to have a 24-hour threat. But going back to what I said earlier, I really want to do another 24-hour stream. Because that was really, really fulfilling, really enjoyable. It was a good experience, I think, even though there was a lot of bad things that happened during the stream, of course. Lots of tornadoes.
The thing about it too, as well, is that we have something, actually not really anything to show for, besides, maybe for us in the future having the stream for reference. But it was more or less the fact that we didn't miss anything.
Yeah.
We caught it all. We made sure that from beginning to end, we were there to not only watch it ourselves, but to give our opinions on it.
Yeah.
And, I'm pretty sure it was one of those things where people already didn't want to miss the event, but we made sure that we were there for practically all of it.
Yeah. We missed a couple at the end, but thankfully by that point, it was like 3 a.m., I think. Local media was definitely
4:30. 4:30, my friend.
4:30.
I went to bed. For me, I went to bed at... my mom literally came in. She said, Nate, you got to stop. If you go any further, you're probably going to pass out live.
Yeah.
And I said, you know what? I'll go to bed now, but I'm getting up early.
Yes. Didn't you chase the next day?
Yeah, I chased the next day. I didn't get anything besides Scud and a shelf cloud. That was really it.
Scud and shelf cloud. I can see that from my porch every night in Nebraska.
See, you get special treatment because you live over in...
I get special treatment, yeah. I mean...
Plains.
I didn't even have to leave my house to chase. Last night I had a beautiful shelf cloud, which this thing can do great night vision, by the way. Please sponsor me, Nikon, Canon, whoever made this camera. Canon. Yeah.
Nikon, Canon.
Yeah, it's Canon.
Ask for sponsorship, even though it doesn't really know what.
Yeah, wait. What camera do you have? Because I have a Canon. I have a Vixia.
I got a DSLR Canon.
Nice. I like the Vixia. I've shot with these before. They're very nice. Shout out to my homie for getting this for me. A little graduation gift. He real one.
High school dropout turns into
high school
graduation
dropout.
gift.
Yeah, well, I got my GED, so I got some things for my friends. Yeah, I got my GED. It's basically a diploma, right? I graduated before all my friends because their graduation was literally 2 days ago. And I got my diploma right before everything shut down. So, gosh, remember when you could go out and do things? Remember when you could walk into a Taco Bell?
Well, to be fair, I typically did that yesterday. Except I didn't walk into a Taco Bell. I walked into like a bunch of gas stations.
Oh yeah, gas stations. They won't close for anything. I went into a gas station during a tornado warning once and got a bag of chips, and no one gave a shit. It was like, it's a gas station. What do we do?
You don't want to go into gas stations, though. Never want to go into gas stations for probably restrooms. That's basic.
God. There's one that had like, you know how sometimes they have the condom machine?
What?
Yeah, there's a machine. It dispenses condoms for like $0.25.
They don't have that over on the east.
They have that here in the Midwest, at truck stops especially. And at their one gas station, they didn't have one of those. They had a gumball machine filled with condoms.
How does that work?
I guess you just got a couple, and they were all different sizes too. So I guess you just hope you get the right one.
Gamble enough.
You had to put in $0.25, and then you get a bunch of condoms. I don't even know how they make money. I don't think they do. It was really funny. I was half tempted to ask the manager about it, but I bet he gets asked every fucking day. How come you have a bunch of condoms in a gumball machine? God.
I don't know.
I was glad my dad didn't see that. He'd probably I don't know what he'd do. He'd probably ask about it. So I'm glad I was the only one who went in that day. That was like 2 years ago, man. Any other reflections on the Easter outbreak? I'm approaching an hour.
This is a podcast, isn't it? We just talk about all sorts of stuff.
Talked about everything. You got your waifu back there. We haven't even talked about this. This is the best monster flavor. All right, Pipeline Punch. The pink one. It's the pink one. Somebody said that this is the reason I'm gay. Yeah. This made me gay. The chemicals in this right here. Yeah, that's why.
Totally.
Yeah. Alex Jones was right.
The poisoning the frogs, poisoning the ponds, turning the frogs gay.
They're putting chemicals in the water. They're turning the frickin' frogs gay. Do you understand that? Turn the fucking frogs gay.
I can't.
There we go.
Yeah, I mean, I enjoyed the that outbreak thoroughly.
It was a good time. I mean, it's a shame that people died. That's always sad, you know.
Oh, of course. And,
that's tragic. But
it's as much as people don't want to say this.
Yeah.
But unfortunately, it's going to happen.
It's gonna happen, no matter how safe you.
I'm probably gonna say what he was just about to say, but you can do as many things to try and prevent it from happening and take as many precautions. It's bound to happen eventually. Yeah. And it's the same thing with the coronavirus. I'm sure I hate to get political right now, but Trump said something. Warning, oh no. Trump said something, and I'm pretty sure people took it the wrong way. He said he had an interview where people were like, dude, 1,000 people are dying every single day. And he brought up a valid point saying it happens. And what I think what he was trying to say off of that is, what do you want him to do about it? He's done. There's nothing really more you can do about it. You can't just say, go away, COVID. Yeah. The cures are doing things. All right. Yeah. We're working on it.
We're getting there. It'll take a while. It's not going to be instantaneous.
You can't just bring the wrath of Zeus and get something about it. Just like, come on, man.
Yeah. I mean, I was going to bring up a racing analogy actually. As much we have the safe. Okay, I know I talk about NASCAR a lot. All right. You got the safer barriers. You got the catch fencing. You got the roll cages. You got the car tomorrow design. Now you got the Gen 6. Gen 7 next year. You got all this safety technology, and the Hans device keeps your head from snapping when you hit the wall. All that, people are still going to die sometimes in racing. It's been a long time since the Cup Series someone died. Ryan Newman, he shouldn't be alive right now. I'm sorry, that wreck, he should have been fucking dead. I'm sure you've seen the wreck. He flips over, he gets turned in the trial, flips over, lands on Priest's hood, I think. Flips again, car's on fire, car's completely caved, and he walked out of the hospital the next day. The safety they have is incredible. But someday someone's going to die in the Cup Series. It's going to happen again. You can't go at 200 miles an hour, have 43 cars week in and week out going around a track 200 miles an hour, and not have anyone get hurt. No matter how safe you make it, it's still dangerous. Life is dangerous, all right? And you can try and mitigate it as much as you want, but people are still going to die.
Yeah.
No matter what you do. And that's the moral of the story, you know? People die sometimes. Bad things happen, no matter what you do. That's just the way the world is. And people who who want to get the tornado death rate down to 0, while it is a good cause, it is very good. And minimizing deaths is a very, very good cause. You're never going to be able to stop some idiot from driving directly into the goddamn thing, all right? Someone's going to die in a tornado. It happens. It's unfortunate. There's always going to be somebody who unplugs the weather radio because it woke them up, okay? There's always going to be that somebody.
Just the ignorance of people.
Just the ignorance, yeah. And some people don't know better. Some people do all they can and they still get killed. I mean, if this house got hit by an EF5, I'd be fucking dead. I'm not even below ground level in this basement. So, maybe please, EF5 that destroys the Shields parking garage, please don't hit me. Maybe rip off this roof. It's fuck ugly. Maybe the carpet too. This carpet's awful. Maybe this desk too. Am I asking for too much now from our mythical tornado that can pick and choose what it takes? But people are gonna die. It's weather.
Pray to the tornado gods, it might happen.
Pray to the tornado gods. Yes. Pray to broils.
Oh yes.
I know this doesn't have much to do with the outbreak, but your server.
We're getting close to our highest amount of people.
Yeah, about that.
We got 402 people.
Yesterday, somebody just started preaching the fucking Bible in your general channel.
Really?
Yes.
I wasn't. You see, you guys have to remember, I was chasing through all.
I know
this,
you were
so
chasing through that. Yeah, I was gonna be in the VC while you chased, but I was like, I think so too. Oh, also, Linguini Sim Racing has won a race. It happened.
What?
Yeah, I know. Our child army is starting to win races. It's not just me anymore. So. Yes, I have an army of children we have doing Roblox racing. Please don't make a documentary on me, Evan. It's we don't pay him. Of course we don't. I guess we pay Ethan technically, but he also codes for me, so I mean that's why he gets paid. He doesn't get paid to race. Mm-hmm. Oh, and also, just a fun fact. I'm going to the dirt race this weekend at Eagle Raceway on Saturday. I might try and get some nice pics just of the race with my phone. And
bunch of content.
Yeah, nice content, get some racing on there. You ever been to a dirt race, Nate? Since we're at the end of the podcast, let's fucking talk about anything. You ever been to a dirt race?
Yeah, there's a track over city to the south of me. So yeah, I've been to a couple.
Yeah, what track is it? I might know it.
I can't remember. It's not a good one, and it's not a popular one either. But
so it's the Beatrice Speedway of the East.
The dirt race. Let's see.
I have a couple of friends who run tracks out in the East, actually. I don't have enough money to buy a race car. If I do, I'm going to buy like a 4-cylinder.
It's literally just called the Hagerstown Speedway.
Hagerstown Speedway?
It's literally just called the Hagerstown
Speedway. Do they even
Speedway.
have a national event? I mean, at least Eagle Raceway has the Race Saver Nationals, which is pretty cool.
No, I don't know, to be completely honest with you.
What classes do they run? Do they have late models, or?
Huh?
What kind of cars do they have there? Just late models, or?
They got obviously trucks. Obviously.
Obviously, you have trucks.
We got trucks over there.
We don't have a truck series here in Nebraska. We have sprint cars, 4-cylinders, street stocks, which are actually they're hobby stocks, but we call them street stocks.
Give me a second. Let me ask people.
And then we have a bunch of modified divisions. We have like 4 modified divisions in the state, and they're all different. And one of them is so obscenely loud you have to bring earplugs.
I think they have trucks.
And it's a big block V8. Yeah, I mean, Eagle Raceway is a good track. I haven't been to I-80. I think me and Addison are going to Eagle this weekend. But yeah, me and Addison have been doing a lot of stuff recently. And me and him have talked about chasing at some point too, just because he's wanted to chase and I wanted to have somebody to drive the car while I attempt to film on this shitty little camera. So yeah, dirt racing's a good time. It really is. I do remember that one of the tracks down there during the tornado outbreak, this does tie in to the outbreak, believe it or not. There was a track that actually came very close to being hit.
Late model they got, fast track, crate late models, late model sportsman, pure stock, hobby stock.
It's all late model, always has been.
IMC Race Saver, sprints.
Wait, you guys
Yeah.
have Race Saver?
Yeah.
Hey,
Race
those are the
Saver.
guys that run at Eagle every year. They have the big national event. All the best drivers from every track come, and then they all crash horribly at our massively unsafe racetrack. That's why I love Eagle, you know? Somebody could just have the worst looking accident and walk away, but then somebody taps the wall and it's like, oh, he's dead. It's unfortunate, but that's racing. Robin's racing. Reckon's racing.
Sounds about
Cars
right.
flipping nearly into the grandstands in the most comical fashion. Me and my mom went to a race last year. There was a car that flipped into the lights. He went flying into the light pole.
We got ASCOC sprints, Ascot.
Asscock? Is that really what they call themselves? Asscock.
I don't know. It's 30 laps. I don't know what it is, but yeah.
They do
that's
30 laps? I assume it's a quarter mile? I don't know. I don't even know how long Eagle is. I've seen a third. I thought it was a quarter. My friend says it's a third, and he's like the guru on all things.
Super late models.
Oh, have you seen those? They're like shifted all the way to the side. They have a wing. Or is that super modified? I don't know.
Crate mods.
Yeah, crate. That means it's a crate engine. You can't modify the engine.
Yeah.
Not if you use the crane engine, which is the manufacturer, which is complicated.
410 sprints. That's
the best division. It's 410s. Race Sabers are, I think, like 3 something.
600 micro and 270 micro.
So you basically have every division at your track.
LaSalle crate modifieds, that's a thing too. U-Cars, Mid-Atlantic modifieds, that's a thing. So apparently there's actually, for the whole Mid-Atlantic, stuff goes on down there.
So basically everybody in the Northeast drives at this track, and I've never heard of it.
I don't know.
I guess. I didn't hear ASA, but I guess ASA is kind of dead now, so.
Yeah.
Rip.
I think...
That was a great podcast. I think we have to end it here just because my computer has been recording for 1 hour and 8 minutes, and my files don't save unless they actually complete themselves.
Yeah.
So, thank you so much for watching. Me and Nate are probably going to talk about anime for a while now.
I'm going to watch a thing of anime.
Yeah, you want to watch High School DxD? I haven't done that in like fucking months.
Actually, I'm in the middle of I'm actually in the middle of an episode. I literally stopped the episode just to create these podcasts. I was just like, you know what? Screw it. We'll do it.
We'll do it. All right. Thank you so much for watching. I am AJ, the man, the myth, the legend, the faggot, Schlotterbeck. That's Hockey Boy Nate. He is
I got Egg Slims too and MDSS. What
still
the hell?
talking about sanctioning bodies for racing. I don't. Maybe I can sneak this in. He's a massive twink. Thank you so much for watching. I'm AJ Schlotterbeck. Goodbye. He can't deny it if I hit the button fast enough.